How would you like to quadruple your real estate business in less than 12 months? Sound impossible? Well, my guest on today's show, Josh Burnett from North Carolina, did just that. And he's going to reveal all his secrets and what led to his amazing success over the last year so that you can just copy him and do exactly that. Let's rock and roll. That you are absolutely crushing it. And, how are you doing that? The market is slow. No one's buying homes, right? This is such a crappy time to be in real estate. Nothing's going on. And yet you're kicking butt. So what's your secret sauce?
Yeah, I've been hearing that all year, right? Agents saying that this is their worst year in business ever and high interest rates and nobody's moving and all of those negative things, right? And some of those things can be true. And at the same time, there's closings that happen every single day. So we just have to go out there and find the business. So I've made a lot of changes over the last year, and I think that that's really been instrumental to my success here. So one of the biggest changes was I changed brokerages. So I was at my last brokerage for 13 years. I came over to EXP last year. This is my first full year with EXP and our Fast Forward Movement group and the things that we offer there, just the masterminds and the mentorship and all of that. So I think that's been very instrumental. I've plugged into that group. Now, with that being said, all of the masterminds and the Zooms and all of that stuff, that's only part of the equation, right? You still have to go do the work. So I've certainly put the work in as well. I've increased my farming. I went from about 1,200 doors to about 5,000 doors. Started leveraging some programs that EXP offers, like our Express Offers cash offer program, and really just started diving into my database. And I know that people say that all the time, but let me just give you a great example of that because I've been in the business going on 15 years, and I am horrible at keeping in touch with my past clients. So last year, I said, all right, I've got to start calling my database. I got to start keeping in touch with people. And I called this young lady named Angela, who I had sold a home to way back. I believe it was 2012 when I sold her a home. She had contacted me a while later, said, hey, I'm going to be selling that home. And she ultimately ended up not using me. She had a friend that had gotten into the business, and she used her friend to sell that house and buy another house. And then she sold that house and bought another house. So she did 4 transactions without me. And we're still friends on Facebook. She's still getting market reports from me, all that good stuff. But I said, you know what? I'm just going to give her a call. So I called her last year. We hadn't spoken in probably 8 years. And we just picked up like it, we had talked last week. And she said, well, guess what? I'm no longer friends with that agent. We had a falling out, and I'm going to be selling my house next year. That would be this year, 2024. So in May of this year, I sold her home for $378,000. 2 months ago, I closed her and her fiance on their new home at $1.8 million. And I have his former home under contract right now that will close the first week of January at 750,000. So just from that
Wow.
one phone call to my database, I mean, we're talking, almost $3 million in volume.
That is awesome, Josh. Congrats on that. That's so cool. So let me ask you, I'm a big systems guy. So let me ask you, systems wise, are you using any type of CRM system to make those phone calls every day? How are you deciding who to call? I'm curious about all that stuff.
Yeah, so I've been using Brivity for a really long time. A lot of people don't understand how I pronounce that, so it's Brivity, Brivity. Great system. Was built by Ben Kenny. I've been on that platform for so long that honestly, it would just be too painful to move. I know there's a
Hmm.
lot of great CRMs out there, but honestly, the best one is the one that you're going to use. I've got friends that do 40 million a year in business and they use an Excel spreadsheet. But that being said, I use Brivity. And as far as keeping in touch with my actual past clients and my sphere, I utilize a system called DTD2. It stands for Do the Database 2, and it basically breaks out calling 2 letters of your database throughout each quarter. So if you do that, each quarter you've called everyone in your database. So for example, today may be everybody with the letter A and W. And one of the unique changes that I've made to it, I notice a lot of people sort their database by last name. Well, here's the problem with that. If I do that and I have a husband and wife in there, I'm calling them both on the same day. I like to hit them on different days because you don't know what's going on that day. And so if they're busy or life gets in the way or whatever, I want to hit those people at different times. So I actually sort it by their first name. So
Excellent.
for example, I've got some past clients, his first name is Tim, her name is Amanda. So instead of hitting them on the same day with the same last name, their calls may be a couple weeks apart because they have different spheres, they have different friends, they have different colleagues. Sure, they have some commonality because they're married, but we got to treat these as two separate contacts. And so that's how I break mine out.
So, Josh, this is cool. So, run this by me one more time because I haven't heard this before, actually, and I've heard most systems. So, this is actually really neat to hear. So, 2 letters of your database every single working day, and you just cycle through. Is that how it
Yeah, it
works?
doesn't even come out to every single working day. It comes out to, I mean, let's see, there's 26 letters in the alphabet. You're doing two a day. So it's basically 13 days a quarter,
Oh, got it.
right?
Okay, so you have 13 calling days a
Yeah.
quarter.
Yeah. Now, that's just obviously for your sphere and your past clients, right? So if
Sure.
you're circle prospecting or you're calling expireds or for sell by owners, that's going to be a different system. But the acronym for this is DTD2. It stands for do the database to, again, to just the numbers or the letters that you're calling that day. And if you guys do a simple Google search, you'll find the schedule for that. The schedule's already out for 2025, and it literally tells you who to call. And then one of the neat things that's been implemented now is there's also a text column. So for instance, if my phone calls today are the letters A and W, my text column might be the letter N. So if
Mm.
I follow that schedule, then every quarter, every single person in my database has gotten a phone call and a text message.
Man, that's awesome. And it's so simple. I like things that are simple and easy to implement. I think if it's complicated, most people won't do it. So that sounds great. Now, Josh, let me ask you the $1 million question. What are you saying on that call? Let's say it's someone that's a past client and you've called them multiple times or whatnot. How do those calls typically go?
I am probably the worst at that, and I'm still having success with it. And the reason I say that is I'm just not a fake individual, right? So I try to find something that maybe we could talk about. Obviously, I'm following all these people on social media. So maybe I saw that they just had a trip or, they're gearing up to go do something. I'll ask them about that. But honestly, and I hate to even use this word, but I'm just checking in. I'm just talking to them. I don't bring up real estate. A lot of times they will because they know that's what I do and they're talking to you and they're asking you how's business. And so that kind of naturally sparks that conversation. For example, with Angela, when I called her last year, I didn't bring up real estate. I just said, "Hey, hadn't talked to you in a long time. That's my bad. I just wanted to touch base and see how you've been." She's the one that brought up, "Well, hey, I need to sell my house next year. And by the way, I'm engaged. And by the way," and then here we are, right? So I really just touch base with them. Some of these calls might only be 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes. Certainly you have the ones that are going to keep you on the phone for a while and you can kind of know who those people are. But one of the things that I love the most about this system is you're talking about 13 calling days. Well, the reality is, again, using A and W as an example, I probably don't have a lot of W's in my database. I've probably got, I don't know, 15 A's. So we're not talking about sitting down and making 75 phone calls. We're talking 5, 8, 12, 17 phone calls, and you're done for the day.
You got me thinking about first names that start with the letter W. I feel like we're on Jeopardy. I was trying to think about
Let's
what
see,
names I
William,
need. Wilbur?
Wesley, Wilbur. Yeah, that's not a
Yep.
common one.
That's the
So I
one I
have
thought of.
tags in my database, right? So I can just pull up that tag and it'll show me everybody with the letter A.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, again, such a simple system, and I absolutely love that. I mean, I think the first thing every agent should be doing, of course, is talking to the people that are already in their database, the people that already like them and know them and trust them. And that's such an easy way to go through it. And I like your approach of just, hey, let's just call and check in. You don't need a complex script. Just give them a call and say hello. So I think that's awesome. All right, so let me ask you a quick question. How much value are you getting from this video? If it's as much as I've gotten, then it is a lot. And look, if you like what you're hearing, if perhaps you're thinking, hey, this is something that I want to plug into, this system, this brokerage, these masterminds, then I want to invite you to click on the link below and book a private one-on-one Zoom call with me. We'll chat about your business. We'll see where you are. We'll see where you want to go. We'll see the gap, identify that, create a little plan for you to get exactly where you want to go. And look, if that's was something that I have to offer or Josh has to offer, then that's awesome. If it's not, then that's totally cool as well. We will get you the game plan. We will send you on your way and make sure that you can achieve all of your goals in real estate. So if that's for you, click on that link, book a free business strategy call, and I'll talk to you then. And if not, let's keep watching the video. So Josh, I got a question for you. I know you
Yeah.
mentioned brokerage and all of that and fast forward movement. I definitely want to get into that for sure. Environment, I think, is so important. But one question I do have for you, since you've been in the business for quite some time, take us all the way back. Can you tell us about your first transaction?
Yeah. And I can tell you how long I went before that first transaction. So I got licensed at the beginning of August 2010. So if we think back to what was going on in the real estate market during that time frame, this was literally in the midst of the '08 crash. The market had not recovered. So I got licensed August of 2010, joined my previous brokerage then, and it was February 14th, 2011 before I had my first closing. So really
Wow.
right at 6 months. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I put that deal under contract on Christmas Eve, 2010, and it closed February 14th. That sale was a whopping $87,000 for a single family home. And
Wow.
then I sold 7 homes that first year, just shy of $1 million in volume. And much like today, that was a tough market. My listing agreements were 12 to 18 months long because it was taking a year and a half to get a property to sell. And then the next year was 3 million in volume, 1 unit, and just continued to grow after that. And then I had about a 6 year period where I was still producing and I was still in production, but I had taken a step back to focus on some other things. And so I actually had this huge uptick in my business, and then about a 6 year period where it kind of plateaued out.
Mm-hmm.
And last year was my first full year back into the business without my other distractions and pulling me away from production. And then this year again being my first full year with EXP, my business is up 180% over last year. So last year
Wow.
we were saying it was a good market, and this year we're talking about high rates and nobody's moving and this and that. I closed 3 deals on Monday. I closed another one today. I have 2 more closing this month, and I've already got several pending for January. And I don't say any of that to brag. I'm just saying that to hopefully motivate somebody that work works. And if you plug into the systems and you listen to the people that are doing this at a higher level, you're going to succeed. So, just to give you a really good example, because I don't mind being transparent with my numbers, I closed 10 deals last year for 4.6 million in sales. This year, I will close 27 units at 13 million, and I already have 3 million pending that will close in January.
Wow.
So between December and January, I'm going to close 9 units, which is almost as much as I closed all of 2023.
That's amazing, man. Congratulations. That is so cool to see how you've made this happen. And it does go to show you, because I talk to agents every day, and it does go to show you that none of the other stuff matters, the external stuff, the market, the rates. I had a month period where everyone was complaining about the election, and like none of that matters. It's all about the activities that you do every single
Yep.
day.
So 2015 had been my highest unit year, and I did 27 units that year. Now, home prices were a lot less, so I only sold about 5.8 million that year, even doing 27 units. So this year, again, still 27 units, but when number of transactions nationally is down, interest rates are the highest that they've ever been in my career. I mean, when I got started, they were in the fives, and then we had that wonderful period where they were super low. But the business is there. Transactions happen every single day. And I think one of the biggest shifts that I made, and I'm always cautious in how I say this, but it's not that I was ever about the money and I didn't have commission breath, and it wasn't that. But now I'm so much less tied to the outcome, and I'm so much more tied to how can I serve this consumer? How can I serve this buyer or seller? How can I do what's absolutely best for them? Because if I do that, the rest of it will work itself out. And it's been a massive changer for my business.
All right, Josh. So I'm going to play devil's advocate there with you because I absolutely agree with you that mindset is so important. Now, what someone might say is, well, Josh, you have, 10 units pending and all this. So it's easy for you not to be attached to the outcome. What do you say to kind of a newer agent? Maybe they don't have any deals, or maybe they just have one and it's like that's going to be their whole paycheck for Christmas, right? How do you
Yeah.
detach yourself from the outcome then?
Yeah. So I think you got to look at the overall value of a transaction and the value of a client, because it's way more than just that one deal. So whether you're making, and I don't even want to put numbers out there, but regardless of what you're making on that one deal, the relationship that you build with that client and the people that they can refer to you. I mean, I've had great example. I sold Angela's house earlier this year for $378,000. Now that's nothing to balk at, right? But in 2024, that's kind of a low price point. But serving her and doing what was right by her led me to a $1.8 million sale and a $750,000 sale. So you don't know who those people know and what that's going to lead to. And consumers can smell commission breath. And I've been there. I mean, I lived a period of time where I was heating my house with my oven door open because I didn't have heat. Like, I get it. Just find a way to serve people and it will work. But you have to show up every day. I've talked to many agents this year, and one agent, she had to get out of the business and go get a full-time job. And she literally said to me, I have busted my ass this year. Well, I know her really well. And so I just said to her, did you really? Like, let's talk about what you actually did. Because there's a huge difference between just making yourself busy or playing on Facebook all day, every day, and saying that you worked a full day versus actually being purposeful with your time and getting out there. And I think that's one of the things that partnering with EXP and Fast Forward Movement has done, because when somebody like me has access to someone like, and I'm going to name drop, but like Kyle Whistle and Dan Beer and these guys that are doing 600 million in sales a year, and they'll take the time to talk to somebody that sold 10 houses last year and pour into me and be that ear and listen to me. That's instrumental. I mean, I'm not a mindset guru. I do think mindset's important, but at the end of the day, it's the work. You can outwork the most talented people all day long, and the smartest people. You can outwork them and do more business. And we're seeing that with new agents now. You know, they're pounding the phones, they're getting in front of people, and they're closing deals. When experienced agents with 10, 15 years are saying, "Oh, I got to quit the business. I didn't sell anything this year."
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Man, Josh, you gave us so much good and valuable information there. I mean, I think, for agents that are listening, there's just so much there to actually implement and execute on. Let's jump into the EXP stuff because you mentioned it a couple times. And I definitely want to talk about environment. And I know you've kind of said it, but can you share, with the folks watching, like, what is it like being a part of, because a lot of people don't really understand the difference between brokerages, right? So, what is the difference? You've been at a couple brokerages, and what really sets the fast forward movement and this group apart from everyone else?
Yeah. And I'm gonna be super raw and real here. I spent 13 years at my last brokerage. So if you're keeping track, I've been in the business almost 15 years. This is the second brokerage that I've been with. And my last brokerage, I was happy until I wasn't happy. And it wasn't broken until I realized I needed something different, right? And it's nothing against that previous brokerage. They still have value in the marketplace, and they are still a value for agents that are looking for a certain thing. But when I looked at what was I getting out of the brokerage, what did I need to grow my business? Because I did feel like I was kind of stuck. Now, certainly there's people at that brokerage that are producing way more than I am. So it wasn't the brokerage's fault, but it's the environment that you put yourself in, right? So I decided I needed a change, and I really didn't go out and look at a lot of different places. EXP had kind of been in my ear for a couple years. I'd really resisted it, to be honest with you. I was like, nah, I don't want to go there. Like, I don't need to have a little virtual world I can play around in. But man, I had no idea what I was missing out on. So contacted a buddy of mine, Andy Griesinger, and funny how we met, just about putting yourself out there. I first spoke to Andy Griesinger about 4 years ago when I was looking at joining Ryan Serhant's coaching program, and I saw Andy on his website as a testimonial. Had never met Andy, had never spoken to Andy. We're in the same market, like 5 miles away from each other. I straight up cold called the guy. Hey, dude, I'm looking at joining Ryan Serhant's program. I saw you on there. I wanted to talk to you about it. So I ended up not joining that program, but I met through that. I created a conversation with Andy and with Joe Turco in Boston. And, we just kept it open. And I really wasn't interested in the XP. But then when I realized I needed to make a change, I contacted them and I said, hey, I'm ready to leave my current brokerage. I'm pretty sure I'm coming to EXP. Let's just talk about it. Well, they didn't recruit me. They didn't sell me. They didn't pitch me. They said, hey, on Mondays, we have this mastermind with like 500 agents on it. Why don't you just come check it out and see if it's something that you like? And the very first one, I was blown away. I said, this is where I need to be. I remember specifically what took place on this. This was in June of last year, last summer. And there was a young guy that asked a question about his newsletter. He was struggling designing it, he was struggling sending it out, getting open rates and all of that. Kyle Whistle said, "Hey man, share your screen. Put it up on the screen. There's like 450 agents on this." And there was no judgment. There was no, "Man, your newsletter looks like crap." There was no, "What are you doing? You're doing this all wrong." It was literally, "Hey, man, that looks good. These are the things that we're seeing that's working at a high level right now. So why don't you try this or tweak this?" It was just such a safe space to say, like, whatever you need, we're going to help you break through that. And that sold me. So it took a couple weeks for the transition, obviously, when you've been in production for a while. But I came over officially July 1 of last year. And the moment I came and plugged in, I said, "Man, I wish I would have done this 4 years ago." And that's really been instrumental. Been able to have a few conversations here and there with Dan Beer. And again, for me, it's just humbling because it's like, for somebody like that to take the time to talk to somebody like me, and I'm not trying to talk bad about myself, but there's a separation there, right? I mean, it's like Michael Jordan talking to somebody playing high school basketball, right? So it's been instrumental. I don't focus on recruiting. That's not what EXP is about. Nobody has ever once called me since I joined EXP and said, "Why aren't you recruiting agents?" It's been all about how can we help you increase your production and increase your business, and that's what it's all about. The second thing that really, outside of my business growing 180%, and outside of the cool people that I've met, I've been to a couple real estate conferences. One was EXP and I've been to a couple Inman events. And the fact that our leadership at EXP, and when I'm talking about leadership, I'm talking about our vice president of brokerage operations, I'm talking about our vice president of industry, I'm talking about our CEO, Leo Perea, are out walking the floor and mingling with people and talking and answering questions and having conversations. That was just a huge breath of fresh air, and knowing that these people actually care about your success.
Yeah, it's an awesome place, Josh, and I think your testimonial basically speaks to exactly what it's all about. And I'm definitely with you. I wish I would have come a long time ago because it would have been made a big difference in business and all these different things. But hey, we're here now, and we
Yeah.
could take advantage of all the resources and everything that we have. So I think it's just amazing everything that we have the opportunity to plug into at EXP and with the fast forward movement and all these great guys. So it's pretty awesome. Now, Josh, I'm very into team systems, these kinds of things. So now that you're growing, I'm curious, what's next for you? Do you want to build a team, hire assistants or admin, or what does that look like for you in the coming years?
Yes. If we back up a little bit, looking at 2013, 14, 15, 16, I had started growing a team at my previous brokerage. I had a full-time licensed admin, I had buyer's agents, and I swore to myself I would never do that again. Fast forward to today, um, with the systems and the marketing and things that I've implemented, I'm literally getting hundreds of leads. I am slammed. I don't have the time to work all of those. I'm actually in conversations with a couple agents now about formalizing a team again. I don't really know what that looks like yet. I'm open to grow where growth takes me. And what I mean by that is there's two words I don't like to say, and it's always and never. So I don't want to say that I never want to have a business as big as Dan or Kyle or Kenny or any of those guys. I don't think I want that, but I'm open to wherever growth takes me. What is not a non-negotiable for me is serving people at the highest level. And so I have two principles that I run my business by. It's proof over promise. Show what you do. Don't just say you're going to do it. And honesty, integrity, and transparency. And so if I am generating leads and people are reaching out and I can't get to them, that's not leading with honesty, integrity, and transparency. So I need to bring people in to serve those people to make sure that we're at least giving the people the respect of a response.
Josh, I love that you have those kind of core values for your business and for what you grow. And I was actually talking to Brittany Stewart yesterday, and she was saying in growing her team that everyone she talks to, they have to fit her core values in order to join the team. And so it sounds like you have very similar alignment there, where those are the types of people that you'll need. We do have that. Just to mention, I just heard from our guys, we have that Team Leader Academy coming up in January, which I want to check out. But that looks like a really cool program that we have access to.
Yeah, I've been blown away with just the different programs that I mean, the new agent launch program that we have to get brand new agents on their feet. And those are some things that just EXP has, not to mention what we have with fast forward movement. So I'm open to wherever growth takes me, but it's all got to be the right fit. I hate to use that word culture, but that's really what it is. I think culture word is overused. I just want to help people, and the rest of it works itself out. And like you said earlier, I am one of those people that always said, well, yeah, it's super easy for Jesse Itzler to say that when he has $1 billion. Oh, and his wife has a
Right.
billion dollars, right? But from a financial perspective, I read Profit First last year, probably one of the best books I've ever read in my life. I immediately implemented that strategy and it took all of the financial stress out of my business away. Doesn't mean that I had money overnight. It helped me manage my business better. And so now I don't have to worry about that. And that has helped me build to where I'm at today.
That is such a great book. We read that. My wife and I worked together. We read that a long time ago, and then actually hired one of the Profit First consultants, accountants,
Yeah.
to redo all of our stuff. And that total game changer. So if you guys haven't read that, definitely check out Profit First. Mike Michalowicz is the author of that.
Yeah. And the reason I throw that out is it helped me manage the money that was coming into the business so much better that it put me in a financial spot that I could not be as tied to the outcome.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Josh, you want to hear a funny story about that book? So my a 10-year-old came home and he was like, "Hey, Dad, we were talking about business today in fourth grade." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, so what happened?" He's like, "Well, it's like my teacher taught us something that wasn't right." And I'm like, "Oh, well, what did she teach you?" And he goes, "Well, she taught us that, revenue minus expenses equals profit." And I told her that it's revenue minus profit equals
That's
expenses.
right.
And I was like, yes. And so, because he hears us talking about this stuff and we're very open in our family. And the teacher was like, no, that's not right. And he's like, yes, it is. My
Yeah.
dad taught me.
Yeah. No, it absolutely is. And it changes the way you look at money, man. I mean, I'm so much more critical of where I spend money now, which is funny because I have the money to spend now. Whereas before I didn't have it and I wasn't critical about spending it. But now when I look at the accounts and I look at how that's structured, I don't have the money for this. There may be on the screen, it may show there's money, but there's not money for this. It's not in that bucket. And so I wish I would have learned that in 2010 when I got into the business, because I'd probably be retired now.
Yeah, I think it should be recommend or required reading for all real estate agents for sure. I think it's
Yeah.
such a great book. Well, Josh, before we get to kind of final questions, I did want to point out, I should have said it earlier, but guys, if you're watching this, send your real estate referrals to Josh in Charlotte, North Carolina. That is somewhere I've never been, by the way. I've never been to North Carolina.
Well, and I'll throw on to that, I'm also licensed in South Carolina because Charlotte's very close to South Carolina. So if you're looking at a map, I tell people I go as far south as Rock Hill, South Carolina, as far north as Mooresville, North Carolina, and everywhere in between. So feel free to reach out. And if I'm not the guy for you, I'll point you in the right direction.
That's awesome, Josh. Now, I know you mentioned that you're not, EXP, you're really not into recruiting. Have you gotten into the agent attraction side? And what happens if agents are potentially interested in partnering with you, whether that's on your team or maybe want to hear more about the fast forward move?
Yeah, so I say that I'm not into agent attraction. I have brought 3 agents over. What I mean when I make that comment, though, is I don't wake up every day looking to attract agents to EXP. My primary job is not recruiting. My primary job is selling houses just like everybody else. I am crazy passionate about people coming over to EXP just because of what it's done in my business. I mean, guys, to go from 148,000 in GCI last year to 340,000 this year, I, I mean, come on. Yeah, you still got to do the work, but my God, the people that I'm connected with here and the masterminds and the pouring into each other, I could talk for hours about that. And so I actually have to dial it back a little bit when I am talking to somebody that's got questions about EXP because I don't want it to seem like I'm over promising and under delivering. I am just so passionate because of what it's done for me. So I have brought 3 agents over in the 18 months or so that I've been here. I see the power of it. It's great. Partnering with somebody like myself, whether it's on my team or anywhere that you are in the country, you get to plug into our fast forward movement. And what that is, we've said that several times. It's just an internal group that Dan and Kyle have created within EXP. So on top of all of the amazing stuff that EXP gives you, the stock and the all the marketing and training and all that other stuff, We have this completely separate segment called Fast Forward Movement. And on Mondays, we do a mastermind with like 400 or 500 agents on it. We do a master class every Monday. We have a solo agent mastermind. I'm actually speaking on that next week about the growth that I've had since being at EXP. We've got a group for the women of EXP, like all sorts of stuff to plug into. So if you feel like you're stuck at your current brokerage or your business just isn't growing to the extent that you want it to, definitely reach out because I'd love to just introduce you to some people. I'm not naive enough to think that EXP is the only brokerage to be at and, everybody has to be. It's not a fit for everybody. But you don't know until you look at it. And if you haven't really looked at it, like I didn't for several years because I had preconceived notions that, it's just recruiting and there's not production going on. The best of the best, if you look on real trends, the best of the best are here. And what's even better, they're inside Fast Forward Movement.
100%. And Josh, I love what you said earlier, which is like, and I take this approach as well because I've been at so many different, brokerages, had my own franchises and stuff like that. Is, take it for a test drive. Just like whoever you spoke to said, hey, jump on a mastermind. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
same thing over here. Hey, check it out. See if this is for you, and then make the right decision
Yeah.
for the right reasons. And
I was
I think it's a
probably a
great way to do it.
visitor. I was probably a visitor on 4 or 5 masterminds before I officially joined. I have a lady that joined us just a couple months ago. She came to several masterminds. And then it was kind of to the point of like, if you're not coming over, you can't keep being a guest because this is private for us. And so I almost maybe, 8 or 9 months or more went by. And then she reached out to me a couple months ago. I'm ready to make a move. Let's do it. And
Yeah,
so that's
yeah,
what we're here for. Like, it's no pressure. It's just see if it's a fit for you. See if there's something here that could help you grow your business. For me, it absolutely has been. There's no doubt about that. So, I mean, another $208,000, or excuse me, another $200,000 in GCI this year. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, Josh, like I said, you are it's such a great testimonial to the system working and how amazing it is. So, Josh, before I let you guys, some fun questions for you. So, the first fun one I have for you is I was checking out your Instagram page, which everyone we will have all of Josh's contact info here in the description. Make sure you check that out. Connect with Josh, whether you want to refer business there or you're a real estate agent, you want to partner. But here's a question for you. So you do a lot of cool stuff on there, like funny videos. I love the one where you're hanging off the park, the swing set, right? So how are you able to do those kind of funny skit style videos? Is that natural for you? Did you learn that, and do you recommend it for other people?
I do recommend it big time. And I have a marketing company that works with the editing and all of that and running the ads behind that stuff. So my listing videos are literally getting 30, 40, 50,000 views. So I just try to come up with something clever. I will definitely say I'm not an expert at that. I'm not phenomenal at it. There's people in our marketing group that they do some wild intros that are awesome. I'm somewhat of a reserve guy, so I'll put myself out there a little bit, but not too crazy. The one you're referencing, I really put myself out there. People were laughing. There was some innuendo in there for sure. I just find something to stop the scroll, right? Or get them past the first 3 seconds of that video.
Yeah, I love it. A lot of times, like, because I'll do videos and reels and stuff like that, and sometimes I'll see something I like and I'll copy it. That one I saved it. And I'm like, I need to do something similar. That was very cool.
Yeah. Well, and here was the thing, like I don't even come up with what I'm going to do until I'm actually at the property. And then I'll just start looking at stuff and I'm like, all right, what can I do? And I knew on that one I wanted to incorporate the swing. Well, while I was there, I was like, well, I could hang off of the rafter on the thing and so it did kind of come to me in the moment and I was like, yeah, let's try it and see. And some stuff gets deleted and some stuff doesn't. There's a few videos back from that where I was filming my intro and it was this nice, classy intro and I fell out of the freaking swing. So, just throw it in there, whatever.
Hey, sometimes the outtakes are the best
Yeah.
part. That's awesome. And then, Josh, last question for you that I had was if you could share either a kind of a weird or strange way maybe that you got a client or an interesting client story, like the weirdest thing that's ever happened to you in real
Hmm.
estate in your career.
Weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. I mean, I've walked in on a lot of stuff for showings. I've walked in on a lot of stuff. I would probably say, like, I don't know if it's the weirdest, but it was definitely the most embarrassing, and I can't believe I did this. So I had hired a buyer's agent, and she was brand new to real estate. And I said, all right, we're going to go in Uptown Charlotte. We're going to look at some uptown condos and just kind of learn the area, talk about showing, all this stuff. Well, in a condo building, they've got all the lock boxes in one little central location, and you grab the key. And so we're checking out a couple units in this building, and we go to the last one in the building that we're going to go to, and the key doesn't work. I'm sitting there trying, key doesn't work, and girl opens the door, and I said, "Did you, were you not notified of our showing?" She's like, No." And she was really confused, and I was really confused. And so I just kind of explained who we were and what we were doing. And like, you don't even have to leave. Do you mind if we come in and take a look around? She was like, yeah, that's fine. So we went in and we walked around and we're looking at the place. And she's a renter. And when we finished and we walked back out in the hallway, I was at the wrong unit. So that's probably the worst for sure. But yeah, I've had a lot of things from clients that only wanted to look at houses because they were hitting on me. They had no intention to buy, walking in on people in the shower, walking in on people doing other things. Yeah,
So
you see it
it can
all.
be a very fun and entertaining business, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's awesome, Josh. Well, hey, man, I so appreciate your time. Thank you for spending it here with us, and for all the real estate agents that are watching. I wanted to ask you if you have anything you want to leave our budding seven-figure real estate agents with that are watching this. That if they're already earning seven figures, maybe they want to grow their business, or if they're not there yet, some words of wisdom
Yeah.
from you.
Uh, I said it earlier, work works. Just find a way to plug in. And look, whether you want to come to EXP or not, I used to be a coach. I don't even do that anymore. I just focus on production. You can reach out to me. Shoot me a DM. Danny's going to have links to my social. I don't mind if you throw my phone number out there. I'll help you in any way that I can. And there's no expectation for you to come to EXP. There's no expectation for you to pay me to be a coach or a mentor. This business has changed my life financially and what it's done for my family. And I'm not a millionaire. I'm not out here selling $100 million in real estate and making $1 million a year. I'm just like you. I sold 10 houses last year, and we're not talking at $5 million a piece. I just hate to see people give up on themselves. I don't think that real estate has a high failure rate. I think it has a high quitting rate. And I think a lot of you quit way too soon. So if what you're doing isn't working, we just got to do something different. But if I can be successful in this and the other people that I'm friends with can be successful in this, there's zero reason that you're not going to be successful too. You just can't quit.
Excellent advice, Josh. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today. And we'll have all the links, just like you said there. So reach out to Josh, follow him on social media so you can see the swingers reel.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. It's been good to be here.
All right, so I hope you got just as much value from that conversation as I did. I absolutely loved interviewing Josh, and man, what a success story. I mean, just a testament to when you plug into a system, when you work the system, and when you put in that work, it actually works. I just said work like 8 times in a row. But anyway, when you do that, you can really make things happen for yourself. And the most important part that I really love is that you can make things happen for yourself rather quickly. It does not have to take years. You can shortcut your way to success by plugging into a system like the Fast Forward movement here at eXp Realty. And look, if that sounds good to you, I want to invite you to book a free business strategy call. Links are down below. We'll jump on the phone, we'll chat, we'll see if there's something we have that can help you with your business to get from where you are to where you want to go. If that's with me, if that's with Josh, whatever that might be, my goal is to get you there. So book a free business strategy call, subscribe to the channel, check out this other interview that I think you'll really like, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, so let me ask you a quick question. How much value are you getting from this video? If it's as much as I've gotten, then it is a lot. And look, if you like what you're hearing, if perhaps you're thinking, hey, this is something that I want to plug into, this system, this brokerage, these masterminds, then I want to invite you to click on the link below and book a private one-on-one Zoom call with me. We'll chat about your business. We'll see where you are. We'll see where you want to go. We'll see the gap, identify that, create a little plan for you to get exactly where you want to go. And look, if that's was something that I have to offer or Josh has to offer, then that's awesome. If it's not, then that's totally cool as well. We will get you the game plan. We will send you on your way and make sure that you can achieve all of your goals in real estate. So if that's for you, click on that link, book a free business strategy call, and I'll talk to you then. And if not, let's keep watching the video.